Jacob Epstein sculpted Lazarus in 1947. It is 100 inches tall, so 8 feet and a couple of inches, 8 feet 4 inches. It's from Hopton woodstone, and Hopton woodstone is a type of limestone that's quarried in Middleton by Wiltshire in Derbyshire, England. It's one of the finest. It's almost like marble, this stone. So in hard green colors of this English limestone, Epstein has depicted Lazarus contorted from confinement in the grave. You can almost see him struggling to free himself from his wrappings. The statue was first installed in Battersea Park in London, where its great size and unsettling pose was striking. Today it sits indoors at New College, Oxford, and I have another pose of the thing. This is from the side, and this image is from the back. And coming upon this muscular figure trying to unbind himself must be unsettling. It's a brilliantly uncomfortable piece and was Epstein's last major work. Makes you wonder, is Lazarus entering or leaving the tomb? Why is he looking back over his shoulder? And if he is looking back, what is he leaving behind? Who or what do you see struggling for resurrection in this image and in our society? Who is struggling for resurrection? The reading is so rich. I mean, it captures our attention. It stirs us towards something. At least it does for me. Whether it's Jesus' discussion with his disciples when they really haven't figured out why he must go back, or Martha's profession of faith, or Mary's intense emotional response, or simply being there and hearing those words, Lazarus, come out. And even though we know the story, we anticipate, we are engaged within it. Thank you, Jill, for reading the passage so well. And thank you for Shirley and Krista and Ron for inviting us to enter the story from various perspectives. Bernice Miles writes, "The tension between the hope of resurrection and the finality of death is palpable during this season of intense personal and communal reflection. Amid painful circumstances and death-dealing social realities, we yearn for resurrection and the unbinding that releases us to dream beyond the boundaries and the experiences life anew. And experience life anew. To dream beyond the boundaries is to imagine a world in which wholeness, well-being, health, and prosperity are normative expressions of human existence, and to partner with the God of life in making that dream a reality." Miles says that one of the greatest hindrances to imagining possibilities is perceptual distortion. Obstacles appear larger and more ominous than they are. keeping us preoccupied with trying to avoid danger rather than discerning alternatives. And it was the case with the disciples. They had traveled for so long with Jesus and had experienced him in such depth, and yet they don't quite understand what it means to live with that referent position of resurrection. Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life. It's not I will be, I am. There's an anticipation for that moment to live as if to live the resurrection now. I mean, Mary and Martha know the words. They have the feelings. They have the belief. They said, Lord, if you'd been here, my brother would not have died. And they have this unquestionable sense of believing that Jesus is the one who was promised and that there is life. And yet, when they're faced with the finality of death, they wonder. They have no experiential referent to support Jesus' self-identification. I am the resurrection and the life. Well, what does that mean? So for Martha and Mary, and for a skeptical community, and for us, we are fascinated by the possibilities for new life. And as we observe Mary and Martha and their community from a distance, we too are intrigued by the possibility of resurrection and feel compelled to join them at the tomb. I love that image of Jesus' tears being mixed, falling to the back of Mary's hand. I mean, we know the conclusion. But there's part of us that as we hear the story, and as it is augmented with that wonderful anthem, that we breathlessly await Lazarus' emergence from the tomb. Lazarus, come out, reverberates throughout our souls. Miles writes, in this respect, resurrection confronts us as an urgent call, beckoning us to consider the possibility that those whom the world deems socially, physically, spiritually, and emotionally dead might live even into a new reality. We pray for the power of resurrection in the lives of persons and communities bound by grave clothes of war, genocide, poverty, disease, dis-ease, systematic abuse, and systematic oppression. And we are called to release persons and communities from the clutches of that death. It's demanded upon us. Unbinding, letting go. Resurrected women, men, and children today also require caring communities that are willing to nurture and strengthen them until they're able to walk alone. To remove the grave clothes of self-doubt, social isolation, marginalization, and oppression. To tear away the wrappings of fear, anxiety, loss, and grief, so that unbound women, men, and children might walk in dignity and become creative agents in the world. John Coley writes, Jesus, I don't know how many times you called me out of my tomb. My life has been full of deaths, some small, some not so little. And before I knew it, I was wrapped in a shroud and buried deep in a cave. No strength to roll away the stone. Each time I thought, this is it. sun will not rise tomorrow, and hope died in the darkness. Then always, always, you came. You came by. First there was your voice, the way you said my name, as though you've always known it. And then, as the stone was moved, there was the light that warmed my heart. Come forth, you called, come forth. And I was up on my feet and out of there, as wobbly as a newborn child, but filled to the brim with life. How do you do it, Lord? How do you always know? Your smile lights up the morning. I know all about tunes, you say. You forget, dear one, that this is why I was born. Coley's poem and the words that Ron spoke, and the emotion that wells up as we listen to the story, listen to the anthem. We are walking this wonderful journey. And let's not let the grave clothes or the comfort of the tomb hold us back. Let's move out into resurrection, move out into living in light and life. And not just for ourselves, but also let's take up our role as a community to unbind